Welcome to this well-known landmark, Swan Village Gasworks, or as the local people say, the gas tank. September 1999, this well-known landmark will disappear for good. This film is about the gasworks and the local people. It will bring back many memories, especially to the older generation.
This tank will soon disappear from Swan Village for good. It was erected in 1934. It stored 4 million cubic feet of gas. I will now guide you around how the coal arrived at the work. At both ends of Swan Lane, the security man at the old works, which was on the left side of this film, would hold the traffic up. Lorries brought coal in on this side of the works. It then was unloaded by the workmen for the boilers. The overhead crane would then unload the coal off the lorries which stored it here for the boilers. This coal storage yard would supply the boilers for the old and the new works. Working round the clock, a train wagon would transport the coal from the new works to the old works through these gates to the boilers. There was a lot of demand for gas in winter time, and this holder would store 4 million cubic feet of gas, so another holder would come into operation, which was called the new works. This gas holder shown here is called the old works. This building housed the pumps which in turn would raise and lower the 2 storage holders at this site. Behind this fencing lay the buildings of the generators. This building was in the region of 50 to 100 foot long. The retort house, which was also on this ground, has seen many a coal lorry deliver coal to this site, even when there was miners' strikes in the 60s and 70s. This building also used their generators to supply the heating to the old and new works, and in winter time, when there was a demand for electricity, would supply the national grid. These buildings were demolished in the late 80s and early 90s. These gas holders also stored gas for the North Sea when both the old and new works stopped making the gas. They were emptied in the early 90s and ceased operating altogether. The top and to the left of this picture was the Swan signal box, which allowed the rail wagons to cross over to the gasworks. It was in conjunction with another signal box, the Birmingham to Wolverhampton line, at the bottom of these crossings. These gates on these crossings were also closed so that the wagons could also be diverted from the gasworks at this bridge at the top of this picture and deliver coke on the Birmingham or Wolverhampton lines. From the mid-40s, people who lived on the Merrick Road estate and wanted to get to Blacklake faced barriers. The only way was through Gas Street. People worked very hard in those days for very little money and would have to walk to work through Gas Street or along the canal towpath to get to the factories. In the summertime, Gas Street was a nice place to walk up, especially when looking over the bridge and looking at the old steam trains going to Wolverhampton or Birmingham. But in winter time it was a very cold street. The wind off the tank was frightening to people, and this made them run up Gas Street. If it was a rainy day and you did not run up Gas Street, the wind and rain would soak you and you would be like a drowned rat by the time you got to the Iron Bridge. Night time was a very frightening experience. Many a person would wait for people to come out of the Gasworks Social Club and walk up Gas Street with them, as they were too frightened to walk up alone. The 60s came and the local people petitioned West Bromwich Council for a footbridge alongside this rail track to cut out Gas Street. When this was installed, there was no lighting and many a person was stopped on this unlit bridge, and this again made the local residents to petition for lighting to be installed on the walkway. This is still used to this day. This pathway from the Arvors Hawthorne estate, and which allows access to Blacklake, was welcomed by local residents and factories. It meant that the people from Merrick Road estate could get to Blacklake more easier and safer than having to go up to Gas Street. This part of Swan Lane has seen many a worker arrive late for work due to them being held up in traffic at the gasworks. To the right of this picture was Blacklake School, which was pulled down in the early 70s and now is a landscape. This pathway along the canal bridge at Blacklake signal box was welcomed by Hilltop residents and local factories. However, the factory workers would sometimes arrive late for work. The reason being that the level crossings would be closed to allow the steam trains through. It was guaranteed if these level crossings were open, the Swan Village crossings was closed. These signal boxes were to blame also for the children who attended Blacklake School. The level crossings had wooden gates to stop the traffic, not like today in the 90s with no barriers or security whatsoever to stop the traffic and people from crossing over the rail lines. When walking up this lane on many a night, you could hear the crickets making noises. People from Swan Village came up this lane to go to the public houses at Blacklake. It was also a lonely and frightening place to walk up, especially at night when both the signal boxes were closed. As stated earlier, the lorries would enter the new and old works. The lorries would be loaded with coke. There was also a cheap gas which was called the blue gas. This was piped through to houses and factories. Barges also brought in coal to the rear of the gas holder. The rail wagons would also be loaded up from different hoppers at the gasworks to deliver to different parts of the country. This area here was the place where the canal water was tested for pollution for the gasworks. To the left of this picture was the old iron bridge which many a person crossed over to get into Bellsmoor Road and Hilltop area. It was pulled down and replaced with a modern bridge in the early 90s. To the right of this picture was the cooling towers. When the gas was made from the works, it was hot. It would then be piped to these towers which had running water through the slates of the wood to cool the gas down. This site also housed pumping machinery which then pumped the gas back into what the local people say the gas tank. The barges, which were sometimes pulled by horses, would also bring coal to the gasworks and unload it. They would also transport coke from the gasworks to local factories for heating and whatnot. These barges would come up both canals, Swan side or Black Lake side. Behind these railings was the Gasworks Club. The members of the gasworks would have a drink here when finishing their shift. It holds many happy memories for their children, especially Christmas time, when the children would walk away with presents off other factory workers. Also at the club they played bingo, which brought many a happy face to their families if they won a few pounds, which was a lot of money in the 60s. This corner of Gas Street was a building where the managers of the gasworks would have to sleep when they finished their shift in case of emergencies. This gas holder is a well-known landmark for thousands of people who were not familiar with the area and wanted a particular part of West Bromwich was told to look out for the gas tank. This tank has helped many a motorist and lorry driver for directions for their work. This tank is well known to a lot of people. It could be seen many a miles away. People who came back from holiday and was on the motorway knew that if they saw the tank from the motorway, they were not far from home. This is not wartime in the 90s, only for the demolition men when the tank will be blown up to make way for redevelopment. What's actually happening the day of the explosion? What's involved?
Right, what we're going to do, as you can see there's a big opening here. Yesterday we did a test blast on that leg there to see how much explosive we need on each leg. There's a leg going round, about 36 going round all the way around the gas holder. On the day of the explosion, what we'll do, we'll put a kicking charge on the bottom and a cutting charge on the top. The kicking charge will blow the bottom in, and the cutting charge there will cut it so it drops and turns over on itself. But apart from that, the day when we get everything set up, all the explosives, everything like that, we've got 28 bobbies all the way around the roads. What they're going to do is block all the traffic coming from that way, and that way. Then I've got about 35 boys with red flags. Now they'll be all the way around the perimeter, 150 yard perimeter. And what they'll do is put them flags up in the air. If they see anything, anybody coming, any vehicles, anything like that, they put a red flag down. We stop the explosion. But if I get all them flags, all them red flags, sky high, hands up like that, and I get the okay from the bobby saying all the traffic stopped, everything like that, I give my man who does the explosive the go ahead, sounding on, boom, and that's it, and you'll see it all come down.
How long do you think it'll take to fall down, roughly?
Roughly, it'll come down, it'll be about 2 to 3 minutes.
2 to 3 minutes?
2 to 3 minutes.
Will it be an almighty bang, or
it
just...
will be a big one, massive gas holder.
Yeah. What do you think is actually being pulled down? When you pull a building down like this, do you have some feeling for it, or not really? It's just an everyday job for you, because there's a hard to work in there, as you know.
It's true, it is an everyday job, but what it is, if you look inside and you look up, it's absolutely beautiful inside. So you think you've got to knock all this down, and it's taken years and years and years to build.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
there again, developing, it's just moving on, it's moving on.
Everyday life is altering.
Yes.
Thank you ever so much anyway.
Thanks very much. Where?
Oh, this is great. Oh, it's awesome, isn't it? It is, the sun.
This is the team that was responsible for the successful demolition of the Swan Village gas holder, or as the local people say, the gas tank. Mick McManus, Peter Harrison, Vic Wilde, Brett Farkas.